Market open coming up in the next couple of seconds. There you go. What do we have? First rates. The Nifty is starting absolutely flat, 24,181. The Nifty Bank is down about 0.13%. Sensex is flat. Mid-cap index is starting slightly higher. So 55,985 on the mid-cap index. There's a little bit of green. By the way, yesterday the mid-cap index sold off in the last 60 minutes of trade. Completely sold off. And but the small cap index had about 0.8% gains by 3:30. What do we have in the Nifty heat map? Just an overall sort of quick look. 25 down in the Nifty, and you got some 30 names which are down, 20 names which are starting in the green. So that is the Nifty stock heat map coming up on your screen. Let's get it down to individual names. Surabhi.
Okay, we're looking at very flat to muted cues right now at the index level. Talk about the winners, and this is the stock that we've been flagging off right from the morning. M&M is electrified, should we say, 2% higher. That makes it the best Nifty winner for the time being. Then there's Coal India, NTPC, BPCL, a couple of PSUs are doing well this morning, even BEL for that matter. There's a bit of green out there. Adani Enterprises about 0.5% higher, but then that's about it. It's very quiet with the bigger stocks like HDFC Bank, Kotak Mahindra Bank. Shriram Finance is cooling off after 2 spectacular days, 8% up in 2 days. And finally, there's some red coming in. Speaking of red, Bharti Airtel is cooling off after yesterday's good showing, 1% down. Cipla, Tata Consumer, Britannia, Lever, so there's a fair amount, Nestle as well, so there's a fair amount of FMCG on the way down this morning. Throw in a Titan as well. So basically, consumers in a soft spot. Reliance, I saw open out on the negative side of the screen. Yeah, it's still down about 0.3%. So pretty flat, fairly muted. That's what we have, at least for the time being. Even the mid-cap index down about 0.25% for now.
Well, that's right. A few stocks, though, deserve special mention. You have Ola Electric, that's higher in today's trading session. They have launched a new range of scooters as well as PowerPod. So, both that stock, in fact, is moving higher on decent volumes. So that comes up for you in the screen. Fed-backed financial services, the volumes are quite high, actually, and the stock is up more than 10%. In comparison to what we normally see, volumes are very, very high for just a couple of minutes of trade. So Fed-backed financial services should come up for you. Up 18% as we speak. We'll just check in terms of news flow on that one. Talbros, they won a big order, 475 crores in a JV. So the street likes that. That one as well is moving higher. Sagility, that's a newly listed company. That's another big volume mover. That's up close to around 8 to 9%. Massive volumes on that particular name as well. Swiggy, well, those who got allotted in that IPO, and there were quite a few who did because it wasn't oversubscribed to a large deal. Well, the stock is headed towards 500 rupees now. So good move is what we're seeing. Volumes picking up on that one as well. On the flip side, ZF Commercial, because of that block trade that's just taken place, 5% equity takes place. That one's down close to around 14%. Interesting to see what happens from here. Prestige Estates is another one that's losing out big time. That's down close to around 4.5%. Volume's fairly decent as well. So Prestige Estates comes up for you. And Adani Green is another one that's reacting in the red. As we speak, the markets are as flat as can be. That's the headline index. The mid-cap index is well flattish, and the Nifty Bank. But 2 stocks that deserve special mention. Fed-backed financial services now up 20%. Sagility up close to around 10%.
Nigel, Sagility was up 10% yesterday as well.
Yeah.
Ended higher, circuit up. And by the way, it's one of those names which came to the market recently. I think it's about not even 10 days old, maybe 10 days old. 12th of November is when it listed. And it had a pretty muted listing, flattish. It's a company which is in the technology space, works with insurance companies and customers of insurers in hospitals and insurers essentially in the US. That's the space it works in. It's a completely private equity owned play. And the private equity in question, it sold some of the stake, pure OFS, I think it was, in the IPO, but 2 days, 20% now, with today's 10% pop. Triveni Turbine is another one. Triveni Turbine, by the way, is the #1 volume-led gainer. I'm not sure if there's news flow, but it was a big mover yesterday as well, which essentially means that in 3 sessions, actually 2 days and 5 minutes, that is the third day is today, it's moved up from 680 levels to 880. There's a 200 rupee move in 2 sessions flat. Let's see if these gains hold this morning. And of course, Siemens, Vivek was telling us, I think you guys mentioned that as well. Ola, I think we mentioned that one, 4%. Aster DM is up 3.5%. It's got large volumes, Aster DM, and it was a bit of a mover yesterday as well. TTML came up, it was a very large mover yesterday, TTML, on big volumes, and it is a big volume-led mover today as well. Swiggy, you mentioned, Sagility, we highlighted, Cochin Shipyard. Keep an eye out on these, defense names as well. So yesterday it was Garden Reach. On the shipbuilder side, Garden Reach was up about 7-8%. Cochin is up about 4% this morning. KEI is up 3.5%. There is Genesis, which is another company. I think there's an initiation report from Elara on Genesis, and that is up about 4%. But it's run up in the last 3 days from 750 to 900, and today is the third day of that move that we have on our hands. Fed FINA, Nigel mentioned earlier, with that 19.5% pop. There is 361, the wealth manager, which is up 5%, 1147 on 361. So, yeah, I mean, things are just opening up, and there's a fair bit of activity which we are looking at. Yesterday, by close, the biggest volume-led loser was BSE, and it's got tremendous volumes this morning as well. It's the second largest volume-led loser. It's only down 2.5%. Yesterday was down 5%. It's down about 2.5%. But look at volumes right at the word go within the first 2 minutes. Surabhi?
Remember Talbros we were just discussing a while back. So that's holding on to an 8% gain at this point in time on the back of those auto wins. Cochin Shipyard, some more defense names are also up and about. By the way, if you're wondering why Fusion Microfinance maybe is not reacting, because typically, as the market wisdom says, rating agencies are the last to react. The stock's already, fallen some 70-80% this year. So, two of them have, I think one has put it on a ratings watch with negative implications. One has cut ratings. But anyway, it's already in the price, perhaps.
The police in Hindi movies.
There se aate hain.
Without, of course, a specific comment on anyone per se. But, so yeah, absolutely. And we'll see what comes of it. Markets actually, again, like a traffic light, right? Blinking red and green, nothing on it. 5-point change with about 2 or 3 minutes of action behind us now.
Just one more stock, Tilak Nagar Industries, just take a look at that stock the last few days. It's moved, I think, from around 340 rupees all the way to around 400 rupees, and volumes as well fairly large. So the street is sensing something. I remember we had a chat with the management as well. We were asking them whether they're doing some inorganic growth. They were sounding fairly confident on business as well as on margins. But that one has been one of the big movers, up close to 3%, building onto gains that we've seen in the last few sessions.
By the way, Nigel, it reminded me that Imperial Blue deal, I'm told, is almost done, but it's not Tilak Nagar.
Oh,
that's what I'm told. But we'll see.
Interesting.
What comes off it.